Alrighty, so I just tried something that worked fairly well with these belts. I have some belts that work well with tapes of this size. This is a the DC 600HC data cartridge, and the reel is of a certain diameter because it has 620 feet of tape. However, with the DC 300A, the DC 300 cartridge, there's only 300 feet of tape. That's the name. And if we were to compare the size of that, we can see that the reel is smaller. So this is the same size, but this one's smaller, which means they're both going to be smaller as the tape transfers from here to here. Where these are, it's going to be the same size. In other words, the band is, this one's bigger, this one's proportionately smaller, so the band always has equal tension. Same here, except notice the difference in the diameter of the reel. It's fairly noticeable. So a band here is the same band on this tape is going to be tighter than a band on this tape. Well, I think I found a solution, and it is boiling the bands. So we are going to boil a band. We're going to take this band and we are going to put it in a jar of warm water. This is just a former jar of jelly that I've washed, glass, not plastic, and I filled it about 2/3 full with water. Now, the camera's looking down, so you'll see this soon, but this is the aerial view. So we're going to take the band, and we're just going to plop it right in here, and we're going to put it in the microwave for about 3 or 4 minutes. Poke that down in there, and then let's see the transformation. And I don't know how long this lasts, because I haven't tested it over months, but it certainly lasts long enough that the tape will read better. So let's give it a try. Alright, so here we have our former glass jar of jelly, filled about this far, up with water. Maybe that's a little bit too full, because I don't want it to boil over too badly. And we just put the band in there, and we're going to nuke it now. So I like to put it about 3 minutes or so on the clock. And there it is, beginning to boil. After about a minute, minute and a half. I started with warm water. Oh, boiling over a little bit there. Uh-oh. See, that's what happens when you put in too much water. That's a simple 3rd grade experiment thing there. I should have known better. Have less water. Alright, so I'll start there. Water about halfway up. Band is in. And we'll put about 3 minutes or so on the clock, 3.5 minutes, and let's see what happens. Should be boiling within about a minute since I started with warm water. And there we go. Bubbles push it to the top, that's no problem. As long as the water doesn't boil over too badly. Don't want to make too much of a mess. Don't want it to push the band out either. So, I just boil it for a few minutes. Maybe that's more than what's necessary, but what this does is it shrinks. It shrinks the band by about 1/3, it seems. And it also helps the elasticity. And it seems to work very, very well. So let's try it. It's fun to watch it tumble there in the water. Alright. That's been about 2 minutes of solid boiling. I think that's going to be pretty good. So let's grab some tongs See, a fair amount of the water is boiled out, but not too much. Just grab some tongs and fish that out of there. And have a look at that. And it is indeed smaller. So let's compare it to one that was of similar condition and hasn't been boiled. Okay, so I've dried that off now just by closing it in a paper towel and giving it a few moments, just patting it dry. So let's pull out one. This is one that really was the band that I pulled out of a tape that was in about as good a condition as I've ever seen. So this is about as good as they come in a tape that's still, 25, 30 years old. This was probably out of a tape that was probably manufactured in the early 90s, about when these things went out of use. So we put this on. Let's have a look at how long that is. And I suppose I should grab a tape measure, but I like to do this way. Okay, there we go. So it's coming out to be about 7 1/4. About 7 1/4 inches. Just pulled taut like that without stretching it too far. So now let's have a look at this one that we just boiled, which was started out in worse condition and was more stretched out. You can already see it looks much smaller. It's also curled up, which kind of makes sense. I mean, it was originally a flat ring. Well, look at this. Look at this. The difference is noticeable. So here we are at rest. It's much stretchier right here than the other one. So here we are at rest. And this one is 5 1/2. Look at that, 5 1/2. So it has definitely shrunk significantly. I think it started out at maybe 7 1/2, so it's shrunk by a full 2 inches just with that 2 minutes of boiling. Now, I don't think it's going to stay like this for a month on a tape. I think it'll probably stay like, this tightness probably for a few days, but certainly enough if you're reading a tape to get a good read. So if it loosens up again, I think just repeat the process right up until the band disintegrates and breaks. But you can't do this with ones that are, of course, falling apart and crumbling like some of the ones that I've shown you. But some of the ones that are stretched out but still otherwise in good condition, this is a good way to restore them. And, a few people have asked me, well, just try a rubber band. I was warned by Al and Chuck not to try a rubber band. And just for fun, earlier today, I did try a rubber band. I should have recorded it. I think I'm probably also going to create a video of just all of the things that go wrong when you try a rubber band. But if you've appreciated everything I've done so far, then take my word for it. Don't try a rubber band. It's not going to work well. We'll record a video soon about what can go wrong with a rubber band and why it's too stretchy and why it doesn't is the right shape and all kinds of crazy things like that. Anyway, so we'll put this on, and I think it's going to do much, much better at holding its shape. So I'll finish this process since I already have this nicely laid out here. Pull that off. Hold that right here as I pull that up and over. Good. And so now we'll take a little bit of the slack off. Again, always use a non-metallic object, non-magnetized object. That's my preference. The bamboo stick is what I like to use. I know the tape measure could have been magnetized. That's why I wanted to use a wood ruler, but I didn't have one. So my apologies for breaking that rule, but yes, I was thinking about it. Okay, so that's pretty tight right there, and I think we have probably what's going to be the best band I possibly could put on an ancient DC 300A tape like this. So let's put it together and see how it runs. Alright, so over here let's check out how this is working here. Alright, let's see how well the the boiled band holds up on this rejuvenated DC300A data cartridge. So here we go. Absolutely beautiful. So thanks for watching.